Anime never really had anything to do with my faith. They were separate compartments in my mind, and I cannot ever imagine it having anything to do with God and how God would speak out to me. But here's a scene from a movie that I love by Makoto Shinkai, and interpret it as you will.
君の名前はミツハ。大丈夫、覚えてる。ミツハ、ミツハ、ミツハ、名前はミツハ。君の名前は。お前は誰だ。俺はどうしてここに来た。あいつに会うために来た。助けるために来た。生きていて欲しかった。誰だ。誰に会いに来た。大事な人、忘れたくない人、忘れちゃダメな人。誰だ。名前は。まだこの世界は僕を飼いならしてたいみたいだ。
So, for some context, I just finished an 8-week discipleship school where I encountered God in so many ways, and I went deeper into His love for me. And leaving that school has been a lot of fighting for what my faith has been, fighting for the encounters that God has blessed me with. And in my life, I never really realized how serious spiritual amnesia is until I decided to intentionally take notice of it. It feels like as if I run along this axis of time and my memory forgets what happened during that long retreat and what God has revealed to me. So the main characters are Taki and Mitsuha, who are in love with each other. Taki meets Mitsuha in a parallel universe, but he doesn't realize that at first and wants to remember who she is when they return to their each own world. But as the world moves, he struggles to remember who she is and her name and everything they've shared and the encounters that they have together. I came to see you. Who was it? Who was it that I came to see? Someone dear to me, someone I don't want to forget. I shouldn't forget, but I still did. So they write down their names on their hands so that they don't forget who they are in case their memory fails. But as Taki looks down at his hands to read out her name that he wrote, it becomes unintelligible. He looks at it defeatedly with frustration. And somehow this scene came to mind when I was thinking about forgetting who the Lord is. That was exactly how I felt last week when life started to catch up on me with responsibilities piling up, and I read my journal of this Jesus that was so good to me, but I couldn't make sense of his name. His name was once so familiar, and I knew that I was so close to him, but now when I read my journal again, it felt unintelligible and foreign. Who was this person that I came to see for 8 weeks and maybe for the past 21 years of my life? I know he's dear to me, his name is in my journal, and I thought all about him, but I forgot. I told myself I never wanted to forget his love for me, but I forgot. And those were the times when I looked down at my hands and once praised him, but now have forgotten. There was a time when we had a church session and where God spoke out deeply to me in an image of him. And I wrote down this very distinct memory in my journal because I knew I would forget. But when I went to bed that night, doubt started to seep in whether it was real, whether I was dreaming. And then when I looked at my journal, it says, Zach, you didn't make this up. I realized the importance of not just remembering the goodness of God in our lives and the times that he was good to us, and to acknowledge the fact that we do forget is actually a big step into remaining in with God's love. Even though we might not be able to recall the exact feeling, the exact words that he said to us, or how the events have played out, but we know that he's good to us, has always been and will always be. On the way to Emmaus, Jesus appeared to the 2 disciples.
Ought not Christ to have suffered these things and to enter into his glory?
They were blind to the fact that Jesus was walking with them and teaching them. They could not recognize him. In Luke 24 verse 29, but they urged him strongly, "Stay with us, for it is nearly evening, and the day is almost over." So he went in to stay with them. Jesus went in to stay with them. And only when Jesus had left them did they realize that it was him all this while, as we read further on in the word. And they asked each other in Luke 24:32.
Did not our heart burn within us while he talked with us by the way, and while he opened to us the scriptures?
We must return to Jerusalem this very hour.
Yeah, although they could not remember his familiar word and teachings that once set their heart alive, Jesus still journeyed with them and was present. Even if they cannot remember, Jesus still walked with them. Amidst all the confusion and whether Jesus was alive or dead in the time, Jesus walked with them. He was their comfort. And what we do, we have to continue to ask Jesus to stay with us, just like the two disciples said, stay with us, Jesus. Yeah, it's getting late, stay with us. And then eventually he'll reveal himself to us. After reflection, it no longer became an issue of forgetfulness, but awareness that Jesus isn't someone who comes and goes, blesses and leaves, but he blesses and stays with us. It is for us to grow in awareness of his presence with us, and then whatever our human minds can remember or not will not matter so much, as we have him with us who is always working good by our side, right by our side. And today, my dear friends, he is by your side. One of my beloved verses, John 14:3, and if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and I will take you myself, that where I am, you may also be. You may be also. And God doesn't blesses you only to leave after that. He blesses and he stays with us throughout the journey. Sometimes we feel, that the post-miracle high is wearing off the good feelings. And that is true, we forget. But don't forget one thing, that even though the feelings have left, he has not left us. At the end of the day, I want to know that he is and will always be my first love, the one who is always with me. And the Lord won't prepare a place for you, prepare a scenario in your life, bring you to a place in your life and leave you there. No, he will come again to take you where he is also with you, that where I am, you may also be. Let's just be aware of this spiritual amnesia, that somehow God has spoken to me through anime, but also just a very nice reference to the love of God and how we always forget it. Surprising, right? Anime, Jesus. God bless, friends. Have a blessed week.
目が覚めても忘れないようにさ。名前書いとこうぜ。愛し方さえも君の匂いがした歩き方さえもその笑い声がしたいつか消えてなくなる
名前わかんないよ。
全てをこの目に焼き付けて追うことはもう権利なんかじゃない
But as for us, we remember Jesus by his love for us, because he is love himself.